Let me know if I'm back. We back? Okay. Oh, I picked the wrong thing. What did I pick, actually? I picked my calendar. That's not what I want. Is that it? That might be it. Because I shrunk it and... There we go. Yeah, so I don't know what I was talking about, and we're going to have an ad break because the stream just started. Oh, that's great. All right. Well, let me give the fish up here a minute, and then we'll try to start this thing all over again. If I can get to the fish. Sorry. In dark mode, it takes me longer to figure out what I'm doing because things don't look the same. Ad starts in 30. If the fish... No, that's not what I wanted. I'm starting the wrong thing. Okay. So anyway, I went to go try to fix the scripture, which had shrunk and couldn't see it. Typed in the new title for the scripture, and boom, gone. Come on, fishies, open up. Why are you not opening for me, my friend? There we go. Well, it's these people to see something who are here. There we go. We got an ad break. We'll try this again, everybody. I feel like an official streamer now with all of these mishaps. Might just qualify as a full-fledged streamer. Oh my goodness, look at the last 15 minutes. There's red all over the place on my bit rate. I do have an opportunity, by the way, to finally upgrade my gigabyte speed, but they're advertising ridiculous download speed, and I'm like, yeah, that's wonderful. What are my upload speeds? Tell me the upload speeds. So I don't know how good my upload speeds would be, so I will have to look into that and see what there might be there. But I do not like the look of what it looks like right now. Ad break ends in a minute. Okay. Come on, load on my phone. Not loading. Just got a frozen screen on my phone. Trying to listen, see how the volume is. Well, we'll just start that all over again. You ever have two of those days? I mean, one's not enough, right? Hey, why was nice looking tail there, my friend. Oh, you know what? I need to get my on break song in here. I just thrown the old BRB song in there. I need to get some updates. Ads are done. Okay, thanks. Come on, do your thing. Okay. Let's try this again. Sorry, I'm not going to try to change the text again because that messed us up. I don't know what that is, and so just not going to worry about it. So we're in Psalm 119 today. As I was starting to say, it's an acrostic poem, and an acrostic takes each letter of the alphabet. And we looked at this before in the Hebrew, but I'll show you again in case you were not here because it's pretty cool. Can I? Oh, you know what I can do? Duh. I can do it right here. I forgot about that. Let me just show you in the Hebrew. Okay, so right here, the first line starts with Aleph. The second verse starts with Aleph. The third verse starts with Aleph. So just like here, verses 1 through 8 start with Aleph. You can see it here in the Hebrew. I don't know if this would work in English. And then you get to verse 9, and it starts with bait. That's the second letter, bait. And then you've got all those verses that go through that. Like, this is a style that works really well. So, like, just imagine trying to do this in English. You're trying to do a poem. You've got 8 lines of a poem. And all 8 lines, and this is a long one, because sometimes you just do 1 line, okay? So you don't always have to do 8. That's just what Psalm 119 is doing, 8 different times. So imagine that in the English alphabet, and you get to X, and you have to have 8 lines start with the letter X, and then 8 lines start with the letter Y, and then 8 lines start with the letter Z, or 8 lines starting with Q. It'd be really, really difficult to do this in English. But anyway, hey, Lucis, welcome in. I have to say the struggle is real. Speaking of style of Hebrew, I watched a YouTube video on Jews singing Psalm 127. It sounded so cool. Oh, I bet that did. Okay, where are we at? Let me double check. I want to say 65 is where we're starting today. Verse 65. And if you're coming in, all you've missed is technical difficulties. There are difficulties abounding, ladies and gentlemen. OBS being what OBS does. Okay. So now we're starting with Tate. And the first word we have in our English is you. So you can see how, like, how would you be able to do this? And so I guess one of the things, we've got teach there in 66. So think about this. If you were to try to do this in English, your poetry would probably, like Yoda sounded would. You would rearrange. Oh, I'm trying to get Yoda voice. Am I? Servant, good you are. Promised. Oh Lord, you are just. Yes. So you would probably end up sounding like Yoda if you were able to pull this off in English for word order. Impressed you are. Thank you. I didn't know I could pull that off, but you know, you get the word order wrong and it helps. It helps. If you've ever noticed, by the way, Grover and Yoda have the same voice. Grover and Yoda basically have the same voice. So, okay, let's get into our text today. You are good to your servant, O Lord, just as you promised. Grover and Yoda, you never noticed that? They do, yes. Yes. Go check it out. Go check it out. Now, Grover doesn't talk in the, improper improper grammar order for English. He doesn't talk that way. But the voice, it's so close. You are good to your servant, O Lord, just as you promised. Teach me proper discernment and understanding, for I consider your commands to be reliable. It's interesting. For I believe your commands. Yeah, I get where they're going with considering to be reliable, but it does. Like, I'm thinking, does it really matter whether I consider them reliable or not? Because they are. So, doesn't really matter what I consider them to be. That's what they is. Okay. Before I was afflicted, I used to stray off. That is a weird... I used to stray off. I get what they're saying. I used to walk off the path. Before I suffered, I was straying off. Okay. So, in other words, we're getting cause and effect. Yeah, I wandered off the path of how I should follow and how I should walk in life. And lo and behold, bad things happen to me. But now I keep your instructions. You are good and you do good. Teach me your statutes. Arrogant people smear my reputation with lies, but I observe your precepts with all my heart. Their hearts are callous, but I find delight in your law. It was good for me to suffer, so that I might learn your statutes. The law you have revealed is more important to me than thousands of pieces of gold and silver. I love the fullness of the confidence that the psalmist often expresses. It's just so beautiful. King David, hey, welcome in. Revelation 14, and he also will drink the wine of the wrath of God, which mixed in full strength in the cup of his rage, and he will be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Revelation 14:10. And we just went through Revelation, and I don't remember who it was that is he who was drinking it. Oh, no. This is okay. And he will drink the wine of the wrath of God, which is mixed in the full strength in the cup of his rage, and he will be tormented in fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb. And that's wow. I'd have to go back and look at that. I mean, we just covered all of that last month. Let me go look at who he is. I looked, and there were 44, 3 angels, and other angels flying in mid-air. A third angel followed him. I looked, and before me was a white cloud, and seated on the cloud was one like the Son of Man. Oh, it was in 10, sorry. A third of the angels followed him in a loud voice. If anyone worships the beast and its image will receive the mark on their forehead, they too will drink the wine of fury, which has been poured out in full strength of his wrath. They will be tormented with burning sulfur and brimstone in the presence of the Lamb and his holy angels. The smoke of the torment will rise forever and ever. There will be no rest, day or night, for those who worship the beast and in the image, and for those who receive the mark on their names. This calls for patience and endurance on part. Okay. Okay, so this is they will, and I get your question here, suffer in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. Let me go look at that and it's an interesting thought. I've not run across that, so appreciate it. In the presence of his holy angels and Lamb. Okay, so what word is the presence there? Fire and brimstone in the presence of. There's the word we want. In the presence of. Enopion. Enopion.
Strong's G 1799. Enopion. Enopion.
In the presence of before, of occupied place, in the place which is before or over, against, opposite, and anyone towards which another turns his eye. Okay. Where is this used? Okay. And they were both righteous before God, walking in the commands, and they shall be great in the sight of the Lord. Yeah, that totally is taking that idea in the presence of, wow, I've not noticed that before. If we go back to that, they will be tormented with burning sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and the Lamb. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've never seen that before. Um, because we often talk about that that hell is the place of the absence of God and being away from God. And this seems like, but in the presence of, or before, before the holy angels, is the start of it that they are before them, and then it says the smoke will go up and rise forever. Here's the other part that we talked about. The smoke goes up forever and ever, but it doesn't say that they are tormented forever and ever. It says they'll be tormented in the presence of, and the smoke will go up forever. Well, let's see, and there will be no rest day and night for those who worship. I guess so. It's like you've got, it goes in one direction, then you've got. I mean, the smoke could be continuous because they're continuously burning, but some think that when the smoke is rising, it's after the fire. It's from the coals, but there will be no rest for those who worship the beast and its image, and everyone perceives the mark. Again, we've got to, because we're in Revelation, ask the question: is this literal or metaphorical? And boy, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, but it clearly says before the angels and the Lamb is where those who worship the beast are going to be. Right. There's not a question of the devil and the false prophet and the beast being tormented forever and ever. It's humans, whether humanity is tormented forever or there's annihilation for humans. And I know that's a different distinction than maybe you've heard. And I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm saying that's one of the viewpoints that people read it and say the smoke goes up forever, and it does not say that they are tormented forever and ever. It just says they're tormented in the presence, or tormented, I didn't remember the presence of, but. So it's a duration issue. And some people feel like if I do something in a finite space as a finite being, why would eternal punishment be just? That's part of the question that people have. But yes, it clearly says the devil will be tormented day and night forever and ever. That's I don't think that, I don't know, maybe there are people that believe the devil can be annihilated. I don't know. I don't know if people believe that part or not. Anyway, good thought there, David. Doing some good work there. Didn't notice that when we were just reading it last month. So, all right, on to Yod for our next letter of the alphabet. Your hands made me and formed me. Give me understanding so that I might learn your commands. Your loyal followers will be glad when they see me, for I find hope in your word. I know, Lord, that your regulations are just. You disciplined me because of your faithful devotion to me. May your loyal love console me as you promised your servant. May I experience your compassion so I may live. For I find delight in your law. May the arrogant be humiliated, for they have slandered me. But I meditate on your precepts. Look at this contrast. I love this. May the arrogant be humiliated, for they have slandered me. But I meditate on your precepts. Like, I'm not going to take it, but I'm calling on you to do something about it, because I'm a loyal follower of you, God. May your loyal followers turn to me, those who know your rules. May I be fully committed to your statutes so that I may not be ashamed. Oh, we were just talking about naked and being ashamed. And being ashamed is, in some ways, being exposed. Things that you have tried to hide are revealed, and you are trying to get away and slink away. You are being brought low. We looked at humility and all that just the other day. Cough. I desperately long for your deliverance. I find hope in your words. My eyes grow tired as I wait for your promise to be fulfilled. I say, when will you comfort me? What? We can cry out to God? You betcha. When will you comfort me? It's a footnote here saying, okay. For I am like a wineskin dried up in smoke. I do not forget your statutes. It's an interesting image there. Like a dried wineskin. Why is it dried in smoke? In the smoke, okay. I'm guessing it's either in the preparation for it or something along those lines. How long must your servant endure this? When will you judge those who pursue me? The arrogant dig. I don't know why couldn't say dig. Dig pits to trap me, which violates your law. Yes, you do not ensnare people, violates the law, and they're doing it. All your commands are reliable. I am pursued without reason. Help me. That's just a nice line. Help me. They have almost destroyed me here on earth, but I do not reject your precepts. Revive me with your loyal love, that I may keep the rules you have revealed. So the enemy is against me. Things are happening. I'm crying out to you, and I'm going to follow you no matter what. Temple Snail. Paul equates the being put to shame language with eternal damnation. David here places it right next to salvation. That might be a better take. Oh, let's go back to that a second. Where was that? May I be fully committed to your statutes so I may not be ashamed. So Paul's equating shame language with eternal damnation. Well, he's asking to not have shame. So following after God and being unashamed. Here it is. I am following it. So I think if we want to use the call of Moses for a minute, or the conversation with Moses and God, I think this is a testing of Moses. Not everyone does, but when God tells Moses, I'm going to destroy all these people. I'm going to start over with you. And Moses is like, but what will that do to your reputation? Everyone will say that this God just brought them out to the desert to destroy them all. And that would bring shame and humiliation upon your name. And so we should not do that. You should not do that because of what will happen and what people will say. And so he's pleading for and on behalf of the people. And so I think in that way, yeah, you've got the shame of an action or the raising up of someone, like you're talking with salvation there. So, yeah, that's an interesting play of rescuing from shame. Yeah, but here we have the don't be ashamed because I'm doing the things that I should be doing. Although the world is trying to shame me for them, that shame that I bear on behalf, like this could also go into take up your cross daily and follow me. Do not be ashamed of the gospel of Christ. So we could go in that direction too, Temple Snail, if that makes sense. Yeah, interesting. So not being ashamed of the gospel of Christ, but being put to shame, I think, is in the language of not obeying and following. I'd have to go back and look at the reference you're thinking there with Paul. But I think there's the reference there of not being ashamed of the gospel that makes sense too. On to Lamed. O Lord, your instructions endure. They stand secure in heaven. You demonstrate your faithfulness to all generations. What's the footnote there? To a generation, and a generation is your faithfulness. Ah, yes, the poetic nature of. You established the earth, and it stood firm. Today they stand firm by your decree, and all things are your servants. All things. If I had not found encouragement in your law, I would have died in my sorrow. Okay. The encouragement comes in the law. Okay, yeah, but if I had not found my delight, then it would be, my sorrow would be my suffering. I don't think this is one that we really dwell on enough in modern thinking within the church. The law is there for encouragement. Why? Because in it are lots and lots of promises of God. And the psalmist is constantly reminding God of the promises that God has made to his people. Let's just take Abraham. I will make you a great nation, and all nations on earth will be blessed through you, and I will bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. So there's the encouragement that if someone curses me, which the psalmist seems like it's what's going on, hey, artsy Bible nerd, then God is going to render curses on them. He's going to take care of it. And those who bless me, God will bless. And so we find encouragement in the promises. And the psalmist keeps saying, remember your statute that says this. There is in the encouragement, is in knowing the promises that are in there. So in the sorrow, in the suffering, we find the promises, and therein we find our encouragement, our hope. I will never forget your precepts, for by them you have revived me. I belong to you. Deliver me, for I seek your precepts. The wicked prepare to kill me, yet I concentrate on your rules. I realize that everything has its limits, but your commands are beyond full comprehension. Well, there is a fine line there. Wow. Excuse me. To every perfection I have seen and end, your command is very wide. God's law is beyond full comprehension, which is why the psalmist continually studied it. Verse 95 and verse 97. Okay. It's just interesting juxtaposition there. I realize everything has its limits, but your commands are beyond full comprehension. So everything has limits, but my comprehension cannot expand beyond its limits. Temple, he uses a language in Philippians, which I think he uses to describe a battle he sees himself in. Being put to shame would be the outcome of losing the battle. Oh, yes, I see what you're saying. Which he equates with abandoning Christ out of fear. So being put to shame could be language of military defeat, yes, or possible language associated with entrance into hell. Oh, okay, I see, yes. Yeah, which would then equate with the, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. I stay true to it. If I lose the battle, I will endure shame for having lost the battle, having not endured to the end. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense for sure. That's one thing I've not taken and looked. I mean, I've looked at humility all throughout the New Testament, and I studied that when I was in seminary. I looked up, I can't remember what the word is, humble yourself. All the passages about humbling and being lifted up, Peter, Matthew, there's several of them. I looked all of those up, studied those, and was really fascinated by it. But I've never looked at the shame. Which is interesting, because as I read the prodigal son, which is what most people call it, I still think it's a dad with two boys, because that's what Jesus said. Let me tell you a story of a man with two boys. It's all about the father taking the shame away from both of his kids. He takes on the shame of them. And so to the world, the cross is shame because it is the symbol of death. But to those who are living, it is a symbol of life. Oh, which would go back to our conversation yesterday in Genesis about whether the tree in the center of the garden is actually one tree instead of two trees. Oh, anyway. Military defeat might be the better, more direct association and entrance to hell sort of secondary idea. Yeah. Yeah, especially if he's talking to Philippi, which is a military retirement community. The villages, the Philippians, Rome. I'm trying to make the Philippians into the Villages song. It didn't quite work. America's friendliest hometown, Rome's retirement army. I can't make it work. Anyway, you get my weird connection, I hope. Okay. Yeah, it would totally make sense that he's making a military reference as he's writing to Philippians. Okay, now what letter are we on? Mem. Oh, how I love your law. All day long, I meditate on it. Okay. I love this idea of meditating on it. Okay. Let's go look up meditate a minute, actually, before I say more about it. 97. $97. Almost there. There we go. Meditate. Siha. Siha.
Strong's H 7881. Sicha. Sicha.
Okay, so meditation, reflection, prayer, devotion, complaint, musing. Okay, and then there's another, here's this is just a variant that's used 3 times. Let's see what the meditation, complaint, musing, plaint, complaint, following are dubious, musing, anxiety, trouble, talk. So, like, this is what your mind is consumed with, okay? That's what I like to think about it. The musing is, I think, a really good, like, I'm musing about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm postulating possibilities. Like when, you know, those who've heard me poke fun of the song I Can Only Imagine, it's because of the word only. Imagine. No, I can imagine. I can meditate. I can read. I can think. I can question. I can hypothesize. I mean, like, I can do all kinds of things. The thing is dwelling on the thoughts of. Dwelling on the thoughts of. Constantly having it in my mind, wrestling with it. So this is not necessarily just studying it. Okay, this is after you walk away from reading it, how you are engaging with it afterwards. So that's like yesterday, Temple Snail, when I was asking you, like, I was meditating on that passage and wondering if the order of those phrases there in Acts 15 had some correlation to the way that the phrases of, you know, go and make disciples and teaching them, and all of those are simultaneous types of actions that are together, whether those others were simultaneous types of actions or not. And so I was meditating on that idea, which might have had some implications if it was true. It turns out it wasn't. So, can you lower a tab bit how the word sounds? It's a lot louder than your mic. Okay. Yeah, and I know that happens every once in a while. Let me find where it is. Oh, there we go. And this is hard in... yeah, I don't know how to do this in... is that it right there? I can't see how to grab this in this color in dark mode. This is a problem with night mode or sky mode. Let me take it off a minute so I can adjust things. Wow, that didn't look any better. Something's up with the whole of that, it looks like. Desktop audio. I can't find the adjustments on the desktop. OBS looks like garbage right now, so I can't adjust it. I can't find a setting. There's no button to adjust the setting. Oh, maybe this is it. Nope. Try that. Nope. Okay. Unfortunately, right now, OBS is not giving me any... Oh, is that it? There we go. There we go. I found it. It just looks like hot garbage right now. Okay, we'll go back to... Maybe it'll look better in this mode. Oh, yeah, that does look better. Okay. So we're meditating on it all day long. It is what I am consumed with in my thoughts. What is God's law? What's the law? It's going to be the Torah, the first 5 books. That's what he's spending time focused on. Your commandments make me wiser than my enemies, for I am always aware of them. I have more insight than all my teachers, for I meditate on your rules. I am more discerning than those older than I, for I observe your precepts. I stay away from every evil path, so that I may keep your instructions. I do not turn aside from your regulations, for you teach me. Your words are sweeter in my mouth than honey. Your precepts give me discernment. Therefore, I hate all deceitful actions. I hate everything false. So we have the whole image of the path, the walk, the way of life, turning to the right, turning to the left, not turn, which is pretty fun. Okay. Noon. Your word is a lamp to walk by and a light to illuminate my path. I'm sure you know that verse. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. They've just tried to modernize it a little bit, which is kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I have vowed and solemnly sworn to keep your just regulations. I am suffering terribly. Okay, so he reminds God of all the things that he has done and that he's seeking after, and the result is not good. O Lord, revive me with your word. O Lord, please accept the free will offering of my praise. Ooh, that is a great, the free will offering of my praise. So my praise does not come at a price. It is just, I'm going to do it. Teach me your regulations. Okay, so he just got done saying he's wiser than everyone else around. All of his teachers, he's wiser than them because he knows the regulations. He follows the regulations. He doesn't stray off the path of the regulations. And yet, he is calling for God to teach him more deeply, more distinctly, more intuitively, whatever level it is. Like, I need more. I need more. Like, I still love the idea of probably the thing that I have studied the most in Scripture is prayer, and the thing I feel I need to study more is prayer. It really is. Like, how and why does sometimes it just feel like there's no action, there's no life, there's no whatever in prayer, or why do other, like, there's just so much. So he's reflecting on that as far as the law, the Torah goes, and like, I need more. My life is in continual danger, but I do not forget your law. Okay, teach me your regulations, but I don't forget your law. See, it's the back and forth, because that's what life is, right? It's the ups and downs. The wicked lay a trap for me, but I do not wander from your precepts. I claim your rules as my permanent possession, for they give me joy. I am determined to obey your statutes at all times, to the very end. Samak. I hate people with divided loyalties. Awkward pause there, maybe? Divided ones. The word occurs only here. It appears to be derived from the verbal root attested from in Arabic, meaning to split. Since the psalmist is emphasizing his unswerving allegiance to God and his law, the term probably refers to those who lack such loyalty. The translation is similar to those suggested by Elsie Allen. I wonder how similar that might be to double-minded. But I love your law. You are my hiding place and my shield. I find hope in your word. Turn away from me, you evil men, so that I can observe the commands of my God. Sustain me as you promise, so that I will live. Do not disappoint me. Support me, so that I will be delivered. Then I will focus on your statutes continually. You despise all who stray from your statutes, for such people are deceived and unreliable. You remove all the wicked of the earth like slag. Therefore, I love your rules. My body trembles because I fear you. I am afraid of your judgments. Okay, so when you act, I know how you act. And so, like, if you want to go to the parable of Jesus of, I knew that you were a shrewd man, that you reap where you do not sow, and you harvest where you have not, all of that. Like, I know the fullness of who you are. So the psalmist, though he is asking God to act, he's saying he does not see God acting. He is calling on God to act. He's waiting for God to act. He says, there's no chance I'm leaving you, because I know what happens when you act. Like, it ain't good. It ain't good for those you act against. So I'm not going to switch sides no matter what. I love your rules because I know in the end how the judgments are going to turn out. I don't want to be on that side. Ian. I do what is fair and right. Ooh, I wonder what that is. I do just and righteous. Okay. Do not abandon me to my oppressors. Guarantee the welfare of your servant. Do not let the arrogant oppose me. My eyes grow tired as I wait for your deliverance. Ooh, the eyes fail from your deliverance. The psalmist has intently kept his eyes open, looking for God to intervene, but now his eyes are watery, bloodshot, impairing his vision. See similar phrase in verse 82. If there's a similar phrase in verse 82, I believe this is also a chiasm. That might be part of the chiastic structure. For your reliable promise to be fulfilled. Show your servant your loyal love, your hesed love. Teach me your statutes. I am your servant. Give me insight, so that I may understand your rules. It is time for the Lord to act. They break your law. For this reason, I love your commands. More than gold, even purest gold. And I know we had that phrase, more than silver, as we were starting. Back up like 65. For this reason, I carefully follow all your precepts. I hate all deceitful actions. Ooh, didn't we have that earlier? All false paths. Pay. Moving on. Your rules are marvelous. Marvelous, baby. They're simply marvelous. Therefore, I observe them. Your instructions are a doorway through which light shines. Ooh, that's a good image. A doorway through which light shines. Okay, I don't know if this is specifically what the psalmist has in mind. Let me just see what the footnote says. The doorway of your word gives light. Okay. But I'm thinking about the doors of the temple, the doors of the tabernacle were to face east, so that the rays of the sun would enter into the sanctuary as the sun rose. So I don't know if he's playing with that image here. The doorway through which light shines, your word, the doorway gives light. The light comes from you as the light source coming through a door as the morning light flows into the temple. I don't know if he's directly calling on that, but that's the image I had to mind with the light shining through. They give insights to the untrained. I open my mouth and pant because I long for your commands. What a great image there. I open my mouth and pant. I mean, like, when you're panting, you are trying to get something. You are exhausted from something. So you could be panting for water, as animals do. Or you could be panting because you need to get rid of heat and you need to be cooled off. You need to be refreshed. Both water and getting cooled off are going to be ways of refreshing. So, turn toward me and extend mercy to me, as you typically do to your loyal followers. So, just give me what you do. Just be you. Direct my steps by your word. Do not let any sin dominate me. Ooh, that's an interesting word. Okay, what do we have there? We're 133. I got to go look it up. 133. Have dominion. Ooh. Ooh, salat. Shalat. Let me know how the volume is.
Strong's H 7980. Shalat. Shalat.
Rule, give power, give dominion. Okay. To domineer, excessive power, exercise power over. Dominate, have mastery over, be mad. That's what I was wondering. Mastery over. Nehemiah, Esther, Psalm, Ecclesiastes. Okay, not where I was thinking. So Nehemiah, Esther, not what I was thinking. Is there a root there? Okay, no. I wondered here where sin was crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must master it. I wondered if that was related. It does not look like it. It does not look like it. So this is domineering power over. The other might be subdue something. It might be that word that's used for subduing things. Deliver me from oppressive men so that I can keep your precepts. They are preventing me from following it. They're oppressing me. I'm not able to obey. Ooh. Smile on your servant. Teach me your statutes. Tears stream down from my eyes. Mix the pick. Hey, welcome in, friend. Flat, cap, dap, no cap. There we go, friend. There we go. I'll get the 5-minute timer on. And we'll give you a quick close-up. And you can see my hair was looking like a flock of seagulls when I got up this morning. It's a little bouncy there. Welcome in, Mick. How you doing? Hope you've been doing good. Tears stream down from my eyes because people do not keep your law. With flowing streams, my eyes go down. You see, this is how you do it poetically. You say the thing, you're trying to get the right word, to start with the right letter. Just like, if you're trying to do a haiku, which is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, and it needs to be about nature in some level. That's what a Japanese haiku is. Now, people will write them 575 and have nothing to do with nature. It's not truly a haiku. There's rules that you need to follow on those things. So here, the word order in that is not what you're following. It is the starting with each letter of the alphabet. So, Sade, we are next. You are just, O Lord, and your judgments are fair. The rules you impose are just and absolutely reliable. My zeal consumes me. Ooh, what is the zeal? It is, zeal consumes me. They're just putting my zeal consumes me. Okay. I could go with zeal for you consumes me as opposed to my zeal, but it could be my zeal for you. Anyway. For my enemies, forget your instructions. Your word is absolutely pure, and your servant loves it. I am insignificant and despised. Yet, I do not forget your precepts. Your justice endures, and your law is reliable. Distress and hardship confront me. Yet, I find delight in your command. So, here's the juxtaposition. Hardship is confronting me, and I still love your word. That's what we got going on all throughout this. Your rules remain just. Give me insight so that I can live. Okay, I know that your rules are just. I'm just struggling right now. Just struggle bussing right now. Can't get through it. It's overwhelming. What can I do? God's got us. Oof. Oof. No, cough. Cough. Sorry, I couldn't see the cue there. Cough. Forgot this one. I haven't gone through the alphabet in a while. I cried out with all my heart. Answer me, O Lord. I will observe your statutes. Like, hey, anybody listening? I cry out to you, deliver me so that I can keep your rules. Like, if you don't, like, it's the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego thing. Like, we believe you. We're going to follow you. Even if it doesn't happen, we're still going to follow you. But deliver me, though. Like, I cry out, I'm waiting for you. I am up before dawn, crying for help. I find hope in your word. My eyes and... There we go. That's a nice deliver me. The reaching hand. I love that. I find hope in your word. Again, going back to the finding hope, finding promises, finding encouragement. It's in there. My eyes anticipate the nighttime hours so that I can meditate on your word. So he talked about meditating on it day and night. Now he's waiting for night to come because in the nighttime he can meditate more on it than in the day when he's having all the problems of life. Listen to me because of your loyal love, not because of me, but because of you. O Lord, revive me as you typically do. Those who are eager to do wrong draw near. They are far from your law. You are near, O Lord, and all your commands are reliable. I learned long ago that you ordained your rules to last. Ooh, that's a good phrase. You ordained them to last. Yeah, time is running out on the good hair. That's going to hide. Nice hair, Mr. Caplis. Time is up. Time is up. You know, I'm trying to think. We've had that command since August when I did Streamiversary. Oh, you know what? Uh-oh. I'm going to go check this a minute. I think Affiliate Anniversary is next week. I better figure something out. I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I think Affiliate Anniversary is next week because I think it's Valentine's Day. I think it's when it is. That'll be next Friday. Hide away with my hair blanket. There we go. Raish. See my pain of having no hat and rescue me. Oh, sorry, that wasn't in the text. See my pain and rescue me, for I do not forget your laws. Fight for me and defend me. Revive me with your word. The wicked have no chance for deliverance, for they do not seek your statutes. Your compassion is great, O Lord. Revive me as you typically do. The enemies who chase me are numerous, yet I do not turn aside from your rules. I take note of the treacherous and despise them, the capless pain, because they do not keep your instructions. Okay, I want to go look at the despise them here a minute. Take note of the treacherous and despise them. Okay. I really do not like the phrase hate the sin but love the sinner, because frankly most people that say that don't know what it means and they're not doing it. They are hating the sinner because of the way they're treating them, and they say, "Oh, I just hate the sin." You call them BS on that. Okay. I beheld. I take note of the treacherous and despise them because, and was grieved because they kept not your word. Yeah, grieved, gut. Or is that kut? Or is that cut? That's going to be cut. Yeah, kut.
Strong's H, 6962. Coot.
Okay.
Coot.
Okay, so...
Second entry. Coots. Coots.
Okay.
Third entry. Nakat. Nakat.
The word's used 7 times, and you've
Fourth
got
entry.
4 entries?
Coot. Coot.
Sorry.
Fifth entry.
5 entries?
Coat. Coat.
Okay, the word's used 7 times, and there's 5 entries. Like, this is a variant than a variance. But it does have to loathe, so that must be where the Net Bible is translating it from the idea of loathing. But I like the idea of grieved by. Grieved by. Watching them grieves me on your behalf. Okay. Think about it different. And it's used in Psalms or Ezekiel. That's it. Okay. So, if I watch someone do harm to someone I love, I can be grieved on behalf of the person I love for what happened to them. Right? I can be grieved by the thing that occurred to them, or I can hate the person that did the thing. I can loathe and despise the person who did the thing. So, which is the object here of what is happening? I take note of the treacherous and despise what they did. Okay, let me look at the... Oh, we got ad break in 5. Okay. I beheld the transgressors and was grieved. Oh, man, that is... Okay, what do we have here? First person, so I was grieved. Yeah, this is a long part on there that I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with the translation of that. And okay, I guess that's what it was. And I was, okay. Yeah, it's and I was in front of there. And here is the transgressors. Okay, I'm not sure. Not sure. I was either grieved by them or I despise them. I think that's what we got there. Okay. Yeah, 5, I know. Okay. Because they do not keep your instructions. See how I love your precepts? O Lord, revive me with your loyal love, your Hesed love. Your instructions are totally reliable. All your regulations endure. Oh, we are up to Sheen or Sheen. Rulers pursue me for no reason, yet I am more afraid of disobeying your instructions. This is an interesting one because people will argue, or even there's the, I think the passage in the New Testament that says that the government does not bear the sword in vain. Like, they're not after you unless you did something wrong. David says here they are after him, and he has done no wrong. In fact, he is being pursued for no reason. Now, I'll just speak about a friend of mine. So, he is from Rwanda, and if you know anything about the genocide that happened there, he was not there during the time. He was in Kenya, and when he returned afterwards and was going through the refugee camps, he was trying to aid people. He was also trying to go to the other side. He is trying to bring reconciliation. So those who were, still out to get people and take revenge, he was on their hit list. On the government side, he was on their hit list. He was on like everybody's hit list because he would associate with everybody. He was trying to bring peace, restoration, reconciliation, and forgiveness. And so he ended up on people's hit list because of it, for no reason, because he was bringing peace, because he was trying to restore hope and restore lives and all of that. Anyway, it was I guess, short-lived and relative speaking, and then he's been working with governments since then, which is pretty cool. I rejoice in your instructions like one who finds much plunder. I hate and despise deceit. I love your law. 7 times a day I praise you because of your regulations. Okay, does it really say 7 times? The number 7 is used rhetorically to suggest thoroughness. Yes, completeness. I completely praise you all day long. There's complete praise. 7 times, there's no lacking in my praise. Those who love your law are completely secure. Nothing causes them to stumble. I hope for your deliverance, O Lord, and I obey your commands. I keep your rules. I love them greatly. I keep your precepts and rules, for you are aware of everything I do. I love how he keeps escalating the I love your rules. I'm doing them all the time. I can't wait to do them. I'm doing it over here and over the praising you without ceasing. I'm doing it all. Not to notice me, but you notice me. And you know, I don't have to brag. I'm just telling you how it is. Just telling you how it is. All right, we got an ad break coming in here. So, let's head back over to the fishies. Look at the outdoor cam a minute. Let me just check that. It looks like it's out of focus. It might be. Ain't no sunshine in February. Ain't no sunshine in February. It's gone, it's gone, it's gone. Ain't no sunshine. Every time she goes away. So, yeah, there's lots of snow. Don't think we're going to get any warm fronts until end of March, maybe. We're going to be cold. Oh, I got a potential ice storm coming in tonight and tomorrow, I believe. And you can see why I was doing the decorating. I stood that up yesterday. I stood up SpongeBob yesterday. Boom, down it goes. Maybe I need to just take and switch Squidward and SpongeBob's house and see if that helps. I don't know. Maybe it won't knock over Squidward's house as often. All right, looks like everybody should be running back, should be coming back. All right, so we are at Tav. Not Tov. Tov meaning good, but Tav, the letter. Listen for my cry for help. So how many times is the psalmist in this one psalm cried out and asked God to listen? Okay. So any of those thinking that you can't continuously ask, the psalmist is continuously saying, God, listen to me. God, listen to me. Hello, 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 hello. Like, I mean, just think about kids. Mommy, 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 and they're gonna persist. Mommy, mommy, mom, dada, dada, dada. Like, they're gonna persist. That's how we should be with our Heavenly Father. Consistently, continuously. I struggle with that. But that's how we see it demonstrated. That's how we see it taught. O Lord, give me your insight by your word. Listen to my appeal for mercy. Deliver me as you promised. Again, the promises are mentioned. May praise flow freely from my lips. Okay, so he was just declaring that it does. Now he's asking for more of it to come freely. Like, I don't have to do it, to think about doing it, and it just happens. Like, I didn't, oh, it happened. For you teach me your statutes. So before he was asking to have it happen, now he's declaring that it is happening. May my tongue sing about your instructions, or sing about your word. For all your commands are just. May your hand help me, for I choose to obey your precepts. I long for your deliverance, O Lord. I find my delight in your law. May I live and praise you. May your regulations help me. I have wandered off like a lost sheep. Ooh, interesting. I stray like a lost sheep. It is possible that this point of the metaphor is vulnerability. The psalmist who is treated by his enemies feels as vulnerable as a straying sheep, lost sheep. This would not suggest, however, that he has wandered from God's path. Ah. Yeah, or even just say a stray is not necessarily always a stray because the stray wandered off. Okay? Just think about this for a minute. If you are consumed with what you are eating and the flock follows and goes somewhere else, and suddenly you look up and where did everybody go? You didn't wander off. You just ended up a stray by everyone else going in a different direction. So he's saying, I feel as if, and I am not in the flock right now. There's no one around. Come look for your servant, for I do not forget your commands. So that's how it ends. Like, I am not with you. Come find me. Ooh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, as if. Bum, bum, bum. Yes. So just pointing a different direction there. Like, I wandered off can be different. Like, you know, if you are stationary as a parent sitting on a bench and your kids are playing on the playground and suddenly you look up and you don't see them, then they have wandered off. If I'm walking through the grocery store with my kid and they stop to look at something on the shelf, a toy or a candy, and then I keep going and all of a sudden they look up, they have not wandered off. I have left them behind. So, therefore, they are stray from me, but not of necessarily their own fault. Possibly because they were doing something else instead of paying attention. But the psalmist is claiming he's paying attention. So, anyway, there we go. Psalm 119. Well, how many verses was that? 176. Booyah. I never remember how many it is. It's a big, long book. So, took us 2 readings to get through that. And why this color is not yellow, I do not know. A couple of them ended up different colors. Where is my color? Is that... That's my strike through. That's a background color. Oh, well. White's not awful. All right. Psalm 23. Let's go to Psalm 23. And then, by the way, if you do have suggestions for Psalms or Proverbs, please put them in the Discord, and we can look at those next week. And before we do that, let me pull this up and remind everyone that we are passing the cap for Mel's cousin, whose house was devastated in the fire. Let me do an update here and see how it's doing. Ooh, getting better. Getting better. 70% of the way there. So, Her friend or her cousin is an artist, and so if you are able to give, please give as you are able to, and continue to keep those who are those who were impacted by the fires, those that were impacted by the hurricanes last year are still being impacted. Assassinator Steph still has some struggles. Sunshine S Games has friends and family still struggling, and she was talking about some work crews that were out there. So please pray for the continued relief for all of those people with needs. And by the way, if you know someone with need, let me know so that we can pass the cap for them. I'm also don't know when and how this is going to happen, okay? But new idea that I'm working on. And so some of it has to do, hey, Mel. Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about not just specifically things like this, because the whole house is devastated. I mean, yeah, we could do a work crew to go do cleanup, and we could coordinate with someone local to do that. So that would certainly be one possibility of doing a mission trip. But I'm also thinking about some people that we know in our community that might be homebound in some way, and or have limitations, and or have needs in their house of being able to have some work done. So I'm thinking about trying to figure out how to do mission trips and coordinate that and do mission trips to help people that we know. So not just only give, but be able to go and physically help out. So it probably would take some coordination with a local church or organization and coordinate with them. But like Sunshine was just talking about, there is a work crew there. So there are people that are going. So maybe we could be able to do that. I'm just thinking about it. So anyway, we'll move on to Psalm 23. And this is a well-known psalm. So, okay, this is just going to give us an overall of it. There's a couple of ways to look at this. Is this one setting or is this multiple settings? Okay, I love the 23rd Psalm. Most people do. It's a really powerful passage, I think. I've shared this before. Whenever I would feel fear, this would be what I just recite it until I didn't feel fear, or until I got through whatever the circumstance was. I just say it over and over again. Altus, welcome in. Shalomi, my homies. Okay, a Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd; I lack nothing. Excuse me. Suddenly had a big old yawn. I don't know why. I slept pretty good last night. Oh. The imperfect verbal form is best understood as generalization of lacking. Yes, okay. Good verse here. Yeah, add any thoughts. As I was just talking about fear. So, my wife had to wake me up in the middle of a dream last night. I don't remember the entirety of what was going on prior to the part of me waking up. But there was some threat of violence that was going on, and I was outside of a building moving towards another building, and nobody was there, and I was about to go in, and then suddenly there is someone who is dressed all in white from head to toe, who is coming up to me in an inappropriate manner. And I know that if I allow them to make contact with me, I now am going to be attacked violently by other people. And so I was trying to, avoid her and get away. And like I said, she was covered head to toe. So it's not, it wasn't like a naked person or anything. It was just like, I knew the circumstance, I knew the situation, and I was trying to get out of there because it was a group trying to look for a fight kind of a situation. and me talking to her like the woman at the well kind of a situation was going to escalate things. I don't have any idea what happened before that, but I was trying to get out of that situation and moaning in my sleep as I do, or trying to scare her away and trying to yell, but you don't really yell in your sleep, and just ooh, ooh. And so anyway, she woke me up, and then I was thankful. So Mel, your grandma had me read that every day growing up. Oh, Psalm 23 every day. Ooh, that's a good one. We say this every Sabbath twice, once in a prayer and once for the evening meal. What is the difference of saying it in a prayer and saying it as a meal? Yeah, brain needs oxygen, gas for air. Yes. Yes. Well, it's more of when you're asleep, you don't really want to yell in a full voice because you attract, things to you. So if you're trying to scream in a dream, it's a muffled scream, which I do every once in a while. And my wife gives me grief for it at times, like howling in my sleep. So this is why there will never be a sleeping stream by me. Okay, so there will be no campaign. I will. Oh, Wywish, what a good view there. Sorry, Wywish just went out of cam, or I would have showed you. There'll be never sleeping stream. Not happening. I also sleepwalk and talk in my sleep. So I'm like, it's no. It might be a good show for you, but no, I'm not doing that. So Altus, if you can say more of what's the difference between doing it as a prayer and doing it as a meal? In space, they can't hear you scream. Well, that's nice. So I can freely sleep in space then. Forever and ever. Okay. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. So this is a statement of condition. And the condition of lack is based on the first statement. He takes me to lush pastures. He leads me by refreshing waters. Okay. As a kid, hey, DJ Courageous, good morning. Doing well this morning, friend. I often pictured like green grass, pastures, rolling hills. That is not what Israel looks like. Let me see what I get if I some of those are not Israel. Yeah. There we go. Come on, load. So, like, that's not what I picture. Yeah, you're giving me stuff here. Whatever. When I think about a lush pasture, okay? I don't think about a lot of dirt and all of that and a little bit of grass here and there, but that is what the psalmist is probably picturing. Not this one here with all this greenness, or this one here. Like this one, this lower left, or that upper left, those are not what it's going to be. It's going to be more of this brownness with green patches in it. Let's get back where we were. Not too different for the two different, just where it fits within its liturgy. It's a blessing portion of both. Okay. Thanks, Altus. I did not know that. Okay. So lush pastures. Oh, then maybe we have the footnote. Oh, he makes me to die. And lush pastures has a causative modal nuance on the issue of hiphil, meaning allows me to lie down. The point is the shepherd takes the sheep to lush pastures and lets them eat and rest there. Both imperative verbal forms in verse 2 are generalized and highlighted. Okay. He takes me to lush pastures. He leads me to refreshing waters. So, not stagnant water. So, this is living water. Metaphorically, water that's moving is living water. Water that's still is dead water. Okay, so if it's still and not moving, it can get infested, it can get contaminated, but living water, moving water, flowing water is going to be fresher water and life-giving water. He restores my strength. The appearance of the Hebrew term nephesh, traditionally translated as my soul, might suggest a spiritualized interpretation for the first line. However, at the surface level, the shepherd-sheep metaphor, this is unlikely. When it occurred with the pronominal suffix is often equivalent to a pronoun, especially in poetry. This is the context where the statement must naturally refer to the physical provision just described. The form is best translated simply me. The accompanying verb form is referring to the physical provision just described, carrying the nuance of refresh, restore my strength. Okay. Altus, the meal blessing includes food-specific blessing, sanctification of the Sabbath and the wine, and request to make our study more lucrative. Ooh, I like that, lucrative. Whereas prayers usually involve seeking forgiveness, praises, 18 blessings, and morning, evening, including the full Shema with the 4 corresponding paragraphs of Scripture, etc. Okay. So a difference of it being a blessing or of it being a prayer, seeking forgiveness and praise. Nephesh is the lowest form of spirit in Judaism. It's often referred to as the animal soul, as it is the same level of spirit which animates animals and nature. Difference between being physical, alive, or dead. Right. The neshama is the godly soul, which is higher form, which is unique to man. Huh. That's not something that I've studied. Actually, I just had a question that someone was asking me about having a fractured soul or not having a fractured soul. One of the things that just has never, you get to the New Testament, dividing soul and spirit, and the idea, hey, Zach Lee, welcome in. The difference between having a soul and having a spirit and those things and having both, and how I don't even know how to divide my consciousness from my unconsciousness, okay, or my soul, or my spirit, the only thing I can figure out how to divide is my physical body from everything else. Everything else is just it is. It is. And there is no is without the physical body. So I really don't know how to separate them either. So. Yeah, and I think that was probably where they were coming from, was some information from Kabbalah on soul fracturing. And I'm like, I have no idea. About what the implication of fracturing is. What's the difference between fracturing, breaking, being harmed? I just have no reference. So, plus, really wasn't that interested. It either is and happens, and what do you do about it, or it doesn't, and I don't have anything to do about it. So, but anyway, I've not seen that in Scripture anywhere. Oh, still Kabbalah, but less deep? Okay. That's not Gilgulim. Okay. Oh, Gilgulim is identification of the parts? Okay. So fracturing something different. Yeah, anyway, I don't mean to squash this conversation. I just have no knowledge. I'm happy to have the conversation, but I'm not going to go pursue the knowledge because I have no interest in it. So, okay. So he restores strength. He leads me down the right paths for the sake of his reputation. The attributed genitive is traditionally translated righteousness here, as if designating a moral or ethical quality. See, I hate that they always go righteousness is moral or ethical. And I don't see it that way. But this seems unlikely with the modifiers with the sheep-shepherd metaphor. The phrase likely refers to right or correct path. Yes, which is how I would see righteousness. Is the right and correct path is righteousness. Not, anyway. One that leads to pastures well or the fold. While the Sadek usually does carry a moral or ethical nuance, it can occasionally refer to less abstract things such as weights and offerings, in the context which emphasizes divine providence and protection. The underlying reality is probably God's providential guidance. The psalmist is confident that God will take him in the path that will ultimately lead to something beneficial, not destructive. Okay. Chaya Ra'uk Nashim Nefesh. You don't want to convo unless you are dividing into Hebraic philosophy of the soul or going into eschatology. Right, and I think a lot of people that want to go in that direction are doing one of those two things. This, I think, was Hebraic philosophy more than going into eschatology, but yeah, I wasn't like, yeah, I'm down for that. Okay, the right path, the walk, the way of life, and why? Because of the reputation of the shepherd. The reputation of the shepherd is why the shepherd does what the shepherd does. It is for the benefits of the sheep, but it is for the reputation of the shepherd. Even when, I like that connotation instead of even though. Even when I must walk through the darkest valley, I fear no danger. Ooh. Ra, oh yes. We had this discussion actually in Genesis about good and the tree of good and evil. Well, it doesn't have to be translated evil. Ra can just mean bad. Doesn't have to be evil. So it could be the tree of knowledge of good and bad. Danger, injury, harm, badness. They're translating danger here. For you are with me, your rod and your staff reassure me. The PL, when used as a human object, means comfort, console. I thought they were going to talk about the difference between rod and staff. Okay. Altus. And most who get into Hebraic philosophy want to learn the higher things before having a foundation of the lower. But it's like building a house upside down, completely unstable. Oh, true. BRB? Okay. Rod and staff. I want to go look up that a minute in the Hebrew. So Psalm 23. The Shebet and the Masena. Shebet.
Strong's H 7626. Shevet. Shevet. And second entry, Shevet. Shevet.
Okay. So this would be the marker of the clan. You have the marker, the rod of the clan. You have a club, which is a shepherd's implement, so that's why it's used here. Just generic rod or staff, or a shaft of a spear or a dart, so you have the shaft of it. Is there more to this than that? That I don't think it does. That would talk about the use of it. That's what I was wondering. But let's look at the other. Mashena.
Strong's H 4938. Mashena.
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 Mashena. Is not used as often. Support of every kind, staff. So this is support. That's how this is used. Yeah, if he rise again and walk abroad on his support, then shall he smote him. Okay, so less often used. So the one is the implement of the shepherd, and the other is what the shepherd might do with it. So your shepherd's rod and your supporting staff reassure me. Would be one way to look at that. You prepare a feast before me in the plain sight of mine enemies. Okay, have we shifted from the sheep metaphor? Have we shifted from the metaphor? Verses 5, the metaphor switches. And I've heard arguments that it does not. It would be very odd for sheep to have its head anointed and be served wine. Okay. That's where you're making your argument from. But then you're taking it literally. The background of the imagery is probably the royal banquet, ancient Near East. Text described such banquets in similar terms. Yes, but then you're taking it as a literal sheep instead of the shepherd being God and me, the human, being the sheep. So I don't need to think of myself as having to only eat grass if I'm the sheep of the shepherd. So you're taking the metaphor too literally. That's why you have to see it as switching. If I just see it as I am the follower of the shepherd is my caretaker, and he's preparing a feast before me in the plain sight of my enemies, I still am the sheep. And I have just come through the dangerous place where they were spying to come, and you know what? That's okay. The feast is there. You refresh my head with oil. My cup is completely full. Refresh. The imperfect verbal in verse 5 carries the generalized mood of verses 1 through 4. However, in verse 5b, the psalmist switches to perfect dishanta, which may have a generalized force as well. But then again, the perfect is conspicuous here, and may be present perfect in sense. Okay, so there's a shift here of the others are passive, and here maybe more perfect sense. Not necessarily active, but the result of. And the result of that is satiated, drink one's fill, completely full, totally refreshed, nothing lacking, which we started with in the beginning. So, could there be a chiasm there? Surely your goodness and faithfulness will pursue me all my days. I think this is traditionally goodness and mercy. Hesed. Oh, come on. Loyal love would be what I would go with. It's Hesed. Okay. Loving kindness. Your goodness and loving kindness will pursue, chase. As a subject is ironic. This is the only place in the entire Old Testament where either of the nouns appears to be the subject of a verb, pursue. The verb is often used to describe the hostile actions of enemies. So here's the psalmist having play with it, that these things pursue like an enemy. So that's probably why traditional English verses do not translate this as pursue. They say, follow me all my days. Like no. I love the image of pursue me. Like they're not, your goodness and your loving kindness are not going to let me escape. I love the image of pursue. It's so much more beautiful, I think. The same way that I like in Hebrews where it says, let us stir up one another towards love and good deeds. I think a better, truer translation is incite. It's the word used for inciting violence, okay? To get a riot going. It's that kind of action. So inciting others to love and good deeds. If people can be incited to violence, why can't we incite them to love and good deeds? They're so overcome by the presence of what is going on that they break out in doing love and good deeds. So I love that. So why can't we flip it the other way here? And goodness and loving kindness of God are hunting us down like the hounds of hell. And we're not getting away. And I will live in the Lord's house for the rest of my life. The verb veshavti. I could not get that. I was putting another vowel in there. Is a call perfect, the construct form, common singular, shuv, return, and should be translated as, and I will return. But that makes no sense when construed by the following phrase, in the house of the Lord. The term shuv appears only here in the following phrase, bevet. The form should be amended and infinitive construct. This is really deep stuff. From shava, live, with pronominal suffix, the call perfect, construct, first common singular. How many are following along, and who did I leave? Either case, one could translate it, and I will live in the house of the Lord. The phrase in the house frequently follows the verb. I like the I will return too. The house of the Lord phrase may be purely metaphorical here, referring to the royal palace, but the royal host of verse 5 holds his banquet and lives. If one takes the phrase more literally, it would refer to the earthly tabernacle. If one accepts Davidic authorship, the latter temple. The phrase length of days is traditionally translated forever. However, the phrase, when used elsewhere of people, usually refers to the length of period of time, such as a lifetime, and does not mean forever in the sense of eternity. Okay. Neshama is somewhat relevant here. Ooh. The soul returns, shuva, to the one who gave it. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, see, I will return to the house of the Lord. Why? Because that is where I dwell, and the shepherd has taken me out, who is the Lord, to the pastures, and now at the end of my days, I return to the house of the Lord, and that is where I dwell until I meet my Maker. Oh, super good. Super good. All right, so there we have it. We did Psalm 119, and we did a little more today. This is the one day a month on Wednesday that my meeting is not until 10 o'clock instead of at 9 o'clock. So that's why we ran a little late. If anyone was going, oh no, or you were just keeping quiet, hoping I wouldn't remember. Hey, North Hill Live! Good morning, sir. Hope you are well, my dear friend. Hope you are well. Okay. So there we have it. So those who have not been here this year, Messiah Monday, which we are looking at Jesus, because he is the Messiah. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John primarily. Torah Tuesday. We're started in Genesis, and we've gotten 2 chapters. 2 chapters. And did we get through 3 yesterday? Did I forget to mark off 3? I think we did 3. We did 3 yesterday. What? I forgot to put 3 down, didn't I? Yeah, we did 3 yesterday. We finished 2 and we did 3. I didn't put it down. Okay. So we got Genesis 3. Begs the question, though, when someone leaves, they do so with purpose or are sent with purpose. What do you mean in regards to when someone leaves? When someone leaves as in dies, or someone leaves the house of the Lord, or someone just leaves in general? So then why did God send the Neshem away from the house? What purpose is fulfilled only in flesh? It cannot be fulfilled in a spiritual state. Well, humans have a spiritual and a physical state, which is different from spiritual only beings. So whatever we can, which would be caring for creation on some level, would be, and all of God's creation would be able to be done in the physical, which we need to and are called to do. I don't know if that's what you mean, or you're thinking something else. Okay, so Torah Tuesday, Wisdom Wednesday. You can go over to the Discord if there's a passage you would like us to look at. We'll put it on the list. Your favorite Psalm, Proverb, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. We will do that. There's so many of them, we probably won't get to Job. Job could show up with Friday favorites. That's where I give you a vote of, and I don't think I'm going to actually put Job there. I think I'm actually going to put Job there. Job is one of my favorite books. So that's what we're doing on Fridays. Thursdays, we are looking at transforming your life. So spiritual practices, spiritual disciplines, things of that nature. So we looked at prayer, specifically intercession. There's more aspects of prayer we can look at. Last week we looked at other possibilities of what they are, and we can look into them more deeply as we go along. Solitude, silence, fasting, frugality, simple living, a whole bunch of things on that list. Let me just move these up a little more. Oh, never mind. There's something our neshama needs to do that is in the physical, which is why it is sent into the flesh. Similarly, upon the resurrection of our bodies, there is a purpose that our souls are put back into our bodies. There is something our spirits can't do when separated from the body. Yeah, I don't disagree. I do think that we are physical beings, and therefore we are not whole without a physical body, which is why we will have a new physical body in the resurrection. So that, I think makes all the sense in the world to me. All right, let's take one more look at the fishies before we find someone to go raid. Who do I want to raid today? Let's go over to Bobby B. I don't think I've gone over to her very often, and she is off and on before me and does get a chance to raid me, and so it'd be nice to be able to go and raid her when she's on after me, which doesn't happen very often. So we'll raid her today. All right, let me send you off with a blessing. May God's seeking comfort find you. May his loving arms bind you. May his might protect you. May his wisdom direct you. May the joyous love of Jesus Christ be with you and all those you know, both now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for hanging out in the stream, for diving into the Word. Remember, if you want a particular passage of Psalms, Proverbs, go over in the Discord. Let me know. I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow for Transform Thursday. I might have a couple of things in mind and let you decide between those two, and we'll look at those. But anyway, good stuff. Great conversation, as always. Hope you have a blessed day. We're going to go bless other people.
Flat cap on his head, he's streaming live. Reading from the book, the word so alive. A prayer in his heart that lifts the soul. In the digital world where spirits roll. Hallelujah, from the screen we scream. Join the pastor in the holy dream, spreading love with every verse he reads, planting hope like precious seeds. He's a shepherd with a virtual flock, leading us to faith around the clock. Tapping amen as we raise our hands in this sacred digital land. Don't need a pew to find the light. Through a screen he's shining bright, preaching peace and guiding us right. In our hearts his fire